Welcome to Real Talk in ELT, the podcast that talks about the reality of teaching English.
It's recording. It's recording.
Look at his
Evidence. I'll cut it out.
I've got vodka in it.
Are you sure? I have this green cup that I always have, so you never know. What do you have, Francine? Do you have anything or no?
No, I just forgot about my water, but let's go. No problem.
Yeah,
Do you want to get a water?
No. Just go ahead.
You say,
I'm
Kelly,
fine.
this is what you put in that is tea, right? But
No, I have another one for tea. This one is water.
I hope it's not
Truly.
the Scottish tea or Irish tea. Or...
It's the size of my head. Can you imagine how much alcohol would be in there?
You never can tell.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay. Ready to go?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Real Talk in ELT. I'm here with my two delightful friends, Adriano and Francine. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so let's introduce you first, even though Adriano has been on before. I'm going to try and do it right. Adriano Zanetti. Did I get it?
You got it. Yes.
Yes. He has a BA in languages from, well, I don't know what SJ is, but UFSJ.
That's the Federal University of São João del Rei
Where is that?
in my city, in Minas.
Does it change anything?
It's going to be quite an episode. Okay. A postgraduate in language teaching methodologies. You guys have so many acronyms from UNINTER.
Uninter.
Okay. The RSA DIP. Delta. And has been an educator for 32 years and a public school teacher and an ELT consultant at A to Z English teaching for all levels, and is directly involved in preparing learners for another acronym, CAMLA and CAE exams. Is it CAMLA?
Yeah.
Which one is that? What's CAMLA?
That's Cambridge and Michigan together.
Oh. God, I'm so out of the exams. I have to get back into that. Okay. You're the Breast TESOL Wellbeing SIG leader. He's interested in applied linguistics, focusing on pronunciation, NLP. Do you have so many acronyms, Adriano? It's ridiculous. You know, it's like 6 o'clock at night we're doing that. Okay. NLP, TAL, and APPD. He has presented a number of times in conferences held by ABCI, LABCI, and Breast TESOL, as well as different institutions in Minas Gerais state. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
The acronyms, though. Okay. Francine Pastore. Is it Pastore or is it Pastore?
Pastore.
Oh, is it Italian?
Yes.
We are the Italian mafia, according to Luis.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, Francine Pastore. It has a BA in languages from Unesp. Oh, I know that one. A postgraduate especialização em língua inglesa.
Nice.
From Unesp. But then you have a huge acronym too. FAPERP. What is that?
FAPERP.
Yeah, but what is that, like a joint with Unesp and another
Yes,
university?
it's an institution. It's an institution that provides courses, and so they just got together.
Okay. I'm learning all sorts of acronyms today. An encouragement consultant, EC Global by Lynn Lott. An entrepreneur at Blue Mountains, managing and teaching online English courses. And she's also the vice leader of the Breast TESOL Wellbeing SIG. Welcome.
Yeah, just to let you know about FAPERP, it's the Fundação de Apoio à Pesquisa.
Okay.
Right.
Translate. No, don't translate. Sorry, expand, please.
It's like support research.
Ah, okay.
It's an institution that supports research.
Nice. Okay. So did you do like what did you do there? You did your postgraduate. So were you doing research into?
It was like a specialization in English language.
Okay.
So literature, grammar, culture. Everything.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay.
That's it.
Well, welcome. Very excited.
Thank you.
It is September still, almost done. We're going to have to edit this one quickly, push it out as fast as possible. But September is mental health awareness. Is that what it is?
Yellow September.
Yes.
Okay, because I've totally lost my mind in September, but here we go.
All right. So in that case, you need drugs.
I need to be medicated. I'm just busy. It's fine. Anxiety's under control.
Yeah, we all do, Kelly. We all do. Never mind.
It's fine. So the reason I did want you guys here in September was because you presented an amazing talk, which I didn't get to attend in July at the Breast Tissue International Conference. And I wanted, if you could maybe give us some insights on that, kind of go through it. What have you got to share, well-being SIG leaders?
Ladies first.
Yeah, Adriana, thank you. So I would like to just share first how Adriana and I got together on this. Adriana was already a leader in the Wellbeing SIG, and he was just, we met in fact, when I was Fernando Guarani's student. He just came for a class, and it was a group of teachers studying. And then I met him. And then after that, he started following me on Instagram. He saw some of my posts because I've always been interested in taking care of my mental health. It's been some years.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yes, we teachers do need that. Right?
Absolutely.
Not only teachers, but I think I felt that I really needed. And it's something, Kelly, that all of us need, but not all of us talk about. And I think that's the main point. We need to talk about, we need to think about it. And it's so important, not only in September, of course, now this month we are highlighting the situation, but we always need to know ourselves. And I think teachers in general have the tendency of taking care of students, paying attention to how they are, how they're feeling, and we forget about ourselves. So I think it's a point, but to take care of them, we need first to take care of ourselves. So in the meantime, Adriano saw my post, and then he decided to invite me to join him in the SIG and help and also share the message, invite more teachers to come to talk about well-being, mental health, and not only paying attention to the students, but also taking care of us, because that's our instrument. If we're not mentally sane, we cannot follow, we cannot teach well, we cannot continue. As we could see, especially after the pandemic, so many teachers
people struggled.
Yeah, so
people struggled a lot.
It
was very isolating. Yeah,
absolutely.
And then we just got together, and then Adriano is the kind of friend, I can call him now a friend. And he pushes me, he just motivates me to go, because when he said, let's present in the Breast Tissue. So it was my first time presenting international conference. And Adriano, oh my goodness, I can't. Of course you can. Okay, he never hears me when he say these things. And
yeah, he does it. And it's almost charming too with his Scottish accent. He just comes in, he's like, no, it's fine. And you're like, well, okay.
And I didn't die, right, Adriano?
Never.
We did a good job, I think. So
absolutely, yes.
It was a great presentation. We got a good feedback from the people who watched it. And we also presented in language, out-of-the-box language of Rodrigo.
I saw that Rodrigo had you there. That was wonderful, because he does the training for his teachers there.
Yes.
And was it a similar presentation that you guys went through?
The same content. But we always say we have 3 presentations, right? The one we prepare, the one we give, and the one we wish we had presented. So each time we present, Adriano, it's something different, right? So it's amazing.
Fine. Life unscripted.
Course, it happens according to what people we feel from people, and that's great. But it's like today, we're bringing the content. It's going to be another presentation, right, Adriano?
Absolutely, yes.
The same content, but with a different touch.
It's the same thing, but different.
Yes, that's it. So now let's start. So topic.
What are the topics that
I got so interested, so I started studying. I started doing courses to develop, like, personally, understanding my mind, understand like my feelings, and I got to a course called Encouragement Consultant. And this course really helped me and gave me this broad view on how we need to understand how we are, And also by understanding our thoughts, our feelings, we can also change what's not good. When we're not happy with an area of our lives, we need to see there is a way. How can we make changes? It's so difficult to change. So it always starts in our thoughts. So once we take care of our thoughts, we can start thinking the way we feel, and we can get different results. So that was the beginning of my study. I, of course, applied this in my life. And then I started using this in class as well with my students. And then Adriano got interested. We share a lot. We just put together. He loves equations, right, Adriano? So we got like this knowledge that I have with his emotional intelligence studies and NPL. And then we just put everything together. And now I think it's your time to share a little bit of what you brought.
Is there an equation? Is it like 1 plus 1
tell
equals
about
2?
Yes.
I want the equation now.
Well, tell her the equation, Adriano, you created.
Well, yeah, as just taking from where Francine stopped, I'm a very observant person, so I was not stalking her, I was just
just to clarify,
yeah,
in case anyone thinks it's weird.
And when I thought that was the right time to do it, so I did it, and we've been working together, and so far being successful in what we are planning to do. I go back a long time in terms of mental health. When I started studying neurolinguistic programming, and I started using with my students, and one of this group was very down, in terms of self-esteem, and they were preparing for an examination. So I started using neurolinguistic programming with them. And in the end of the day, they all passed the Cambridge examination. So we prepared for like 6 months, and telling them that they can do it and they will do it, and they did it. So that was like some 10 or 12 years ago. And after the pandemic, when we came across lots of professionals, not only in the English teaching world, but because I teach at a public school, I could see that my teachers, fellow teachers were struggling, as you said, Kelly, with the online process and this kind of isolation and everything. So that, it was just like a calling. So I need to do something about this, not only for our students, but more importantly to us teachers. We need the oxygen mask first, before we can help them out. And so that's how we started. On having shared these ideas with Francine, she mentioned something about mindset, and I started studying something about this as well, coupled with emotional intelligence, which is social emotional intelligence. I did a few courses from the Michigan University, and we've been putting good shows together in terms of raising awareness of how we can act, and more importantly, react to the hurdles that we face in our teaching careers.
Okay. So I'm just going to ask you guys to dig into that, because I want to kind of unbox those ideas a little bit. Especially, I think there's a lot of people that have been seeing things about the social, emotional environments and bringing it into the classroom. And I think that there's some misconception about it, especially just because of the name, the words that they like, social, emotional. I think everybody's just hugging each other and crying. So I'm thinking that's not it. So no. So can we unpack that idea a little bit and how to bring that into the classroom? Well, first, working with ourselves, and then how to bring that into the classroom as well. Either of you?
Go ahead.
I can. All right, I will start. The emotional intelligence is not, as you said, as simple as just hugging people and kissing and crying. Before you start doing it, you need to do it to yourself, like finding out what your weaknesses are, or better still, finding what your strengths are so that you can start reacting and getting your act together.
In terms of, sorry, strengths and weaknesses, I'm just going to be I'd like to be very precise. So strengths and weaknesses in terms of emotional state, like mental state, but then also are we talking about professional characteristics and things like that, kind of just like almost like a SWOT analysis of you as a teacher?
Something
like
those,
that?
Yes,
Okay.
that included, I would say, because sometimes we are so into one package that we cannot distinguish the professional from the person or the persona, and that's the point. When you start defining how you can and should and you must react, and not to say things, because too many words are said in a zest. So we need to watch out for what kind of emotions you're going to put into it, because students can notice if you are in a good day or in a bad day or everything. And it's very hard sometimes when you are in a very bad day that you need to be smiling all the time and everything. So
it affects them too, right? Because I know that I've had bad days and I've actually had good days, and they're like, "Are you sick?" I'm like, "No, this is just how I look. I don't sleep well at night." but they do notice, and because there is a relationship. I mean, you build relationships with these people, and so it affects them in their class. They feel a little more cautious about talking to you. And it's something that should be kind of a safe space for them to talk about anything that they need to talk about. Right. Sorry. Go ahead.
And, because for some students, we are sort of superheroes. We never get sick. We never have bad hair days or anything. But when we tell them that we have this kind of...
Francine definitely doesn't have a bad hair day. By the way,
I work hard for that.
You kill it every time I see you. I'm just like, damn, she was good. I'm just like rolling out of bed. Like I look like I'm in my pajamas.
I do have bad hair days, I can tell you.
Well, what do you do? Because it doesn't seem to look like it. No selfies on that day, apparently. It's fine. Go ahead. Sorry, continue.
All right. So when using your self-knowledge, your self-appreciation, your self-soothing, students will relate to you. They're not just teachers. They are humans. They are souls behind the faces, So they suffer a lot as well. And that I start observing that gave me strength to, even in bad days, to do the best that I can. Even for some people, best is never enough, right? But the moment you have this, emotional intelligence on tracks, and you can associate it with the school environment you are working at. So the social emotional intelligence will be applicable to any context, in terms of knowing when to act, knowing when to react, and basically knowing when not to react, So the emotions will be brought up into the game in a very natural way, very spontaneously, I would say so.
Yeah, it's a process. It's a self-knowledge process. It's not easy, I would say, because it's easier just pretend that this does not exist. But the problem is that if we don't talk about, we feel. Anyway, we're going to always feel. We have the feelings here inside. So when we don't have the space to talk about, in a certain moment, this is going to be out. And probably it's going to explode. So having the chance of dealing with it before, I remember like struggling for many years. I had a period of my life that I was a teacher I had over 700 students. I didn't know even the names of all the students. So that moment was so hard. That's not healthy. That's not healthy. So I think it's really important that we, of course, depending on the time of your career, you don't have the choice. But having the choice, I think, not taking for so many years a situation that it's not nice. We know when it's not okay. It's something to take care of, because our mental health leads. And if not you, if you don't stop for yourself, then we're going to stop for something that happens, for a disease, for a burnout. And this is so serious. It needs to be cared of.
So then I'm on board. I'm just send me to therapy. But where what can people do though? I mean, besides, because the normal thing is like I just said, people just think, well, I need to go to therapy but I imagine that there's other things that people can engage in, content or resources or things that they can find to help them through a process that doesn't necessarily involve having maybe to reach out to somebody. If they want to, then fantastic. But if that's not available, or if it's not financially possible, because therapy takes a while and sometimes it's expensive. And so what can people do to kind of facilitate this process if they're, looking for some help?
All right, I'll go.
Either one.
I'll go first. Well, one of the things that I noticed, from my own perspective was acceptance, knowing that we can't do everything all the time. So we need to establish priorities and above all, boundaries, so anything connected to overworking, overthinking, overdoing. And
it's hard for people to say no, though.
Yeah.
Exactly. Especially in this profession, people tend to say yes to everything and get overextended.
And yeah, exactly. And if you take that Jim Carrey's film, Yes Sir, that he's always saying yes sir to everybody, I adopted that attitude, just to yes sir to me. So as Francine mentioned, I began to make my own choices. And I know that some people were not very happy about my own choices because I chose me first. That's me time, as opposed to institution time, as opposed to school time. So the quality time I was spending with myself was not good. So no more overs, no more overthinking or overdoing or overworking or whatever overs we can think of. So acceptance was the first step I took. And then I started developing from there. At the beginning, I saw specialists, psychiatrists and the psychologists. Nowadays, I don't go very often, but we always keep in touch, once a month. Or she will text me, you posted something different on Instagram. What's going on with you? And sometimes she goes, I need to talk to your friends too.
Oh God, can you imagine? It's like group therapy for everyone.
You all need
therapy. You all are crazy. I think it takes a certain amount of crazy though to be an English teacher. So
yeah.
I mean,
we all have something in common.
Oh yeah. Well, there's a certain little thread that goes through crazy of all of us.
It takes one to know another one, right?
Yeah, we're all not right. I mean, it's almost there, but there's something wrong.
Yeah,
it's not fully.
Okay. And it's a point. Okay.
What Francine said, that we needed to start talking about it. And I would go one step further. I would say we started talking about it and we started doing things about it. That is the most important thing. The Wellbeing SIG was sort of sleeping, or in the oven for like 2 or 3 years. So it was just like a mission when I was invited to take it over. And so now we are rejuvenating it, and with grace and style.
Thank goodness. Francine, you were going to add something, I think?
Yes, I think this point that he said about conscious, in fact, he didn't say conscious. I would say that this is before. You talk about acceptance, Adriano. And I think the first step is being aware of it. But you cannot be aware if you don't have this me time. So as you asked, Kelly, what can people do? Nowadays, it's so hard to find time for ourselves. Stop having all this interference of like social media and demands from schools, from students. So we don't. Silence it's something that we feel not uncomfortable with silence. That was how we
even
started.
In the classroom, right? When the students are quiet, we think that something's wrong, and usually they're just thinking there's nothing wrong. Silence is a problem nowadays. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we need to take care. Yeah, pay attention to how we manage it in class, in our lives. So I remember that once it was a topic of a lesson, and then we mentioned about not using the cell phone the first hour. And then after some time, the student gave me this feedback. He said, teacher, after you said that we talked about it in class, I never opened like that cell phone. I turned on in the morning. It took me like I woke up and then I was with my wife, my daughter, and then it made a total difference. So it was a topic in class that we need to bring this. As Adriano said, we are role models. We are also guidance for these students. So we need this awareness, and to get to it, we need some time for ourselves, silent time, silent periods in our day, every day, even if it's for 10 minutes. We need to listen to our silence, because that's the moment we're going to understand what we're thinking, feeling. We can have like creativity, ideas. So sometimes we are like, I'm going for a walk. And then you're with the cell phone listening to podcasts. We're all the time putting something in our minds. And then the days that I just go without anything, I have so many ideas. I can feel. Some days ago I went and it started to rain. I was, oh my gosh. It was an experience that I haven't had for years. And we need that. We need to feel like the rain on the skin. We need to listen to the birds that are still singing. We need to hear the noise of the street. And this is something, Kelly, that we are losing. We're so connected all the time that we disconnect from ourselves. And that's really serious.
And technology is not the enemy. The thing is, technology is not the enemy, but we're just abusing it in ways that are not conducive to us being creative or reflective or having moments to ourselves. I know my husband thinks I'm crazy, probably. Well, he knows. He's been with me for years now. Good luck. He's stuck with me. But I've been going in the morning, like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'll wake up and then I'll just walk by myself in the morning before my classes, before anything else. And I'll go out and walk. Sometimes I have a podcast in, but half the time what I realize is I'm not even listening to it. I'm just looking around. It's just something kind of there in the background that I'm like, okay, yeah, by the end of this podcast, I need to get home because I have to take a shower for my classes. But I'm not really, and it's actually quite nice just to have that time. Like nobody's with me. I take the dog out and my husband's still in bed, like everybody's fine. And
we need it.
Like there's no one around too. It's wonderful. No kids, no people. And I just kind of like, waking up with a little sunlight, sun rising. It's great.
Yeah.
So
I read something this afternoon on Instagram, I think. It was connected with the Yellow September. And it was a sort of a message like this, you don't need to commit suicide. Give up social media for 6 months and people you think you're dead.
It's true. Isn't it true?
Yeah, it got me thinking, well, man,
what happened to them? Where'd they go? What's going on? And it's automatically assumed that something bad's happening too, when that's not even the case.
Not even the case. Yeah. Not even the case. And it hit me hard, yeah, that might be true. So the message was, give up social media for some time, use it, but don't overuse it. That's the over again.
Wisely. Try to use it wisely.
Yeah.
Okay, so reflectiveness, boundaries, knowing when to say no, stay away from the overs, blocking out time for yourself. So these are all really good tips. Anything else that you guys want to add to that?
I think we can always, I would like to recommend it. Do you know this book, Kelly? Mindset?
What is it? Nope. But okay. We'll put it in the show notes. Okay. Go ahead.
Carol Dweck. I think this book is so interesting, related to the topic we're saying here, and also to help in the learning process. I love it because then this is the one that Adriano mentioned. Most of the times when we are dealing with learning, students are usually really, we demand a lot from ourselves, not only students, let's say. What do we want for ourselves? We're always requiring more and more and more. That's why we sometimes struggle and we have this burnout. changing our mindset, and this is possible. It's really possible. It's a start. So when we talk about this things connected to the mind, yeah, let's say mental health, I think if the idea is to change an area or something that is not good at the moment, it always starts with the thoughts, as I mentioned before. So by changing the way we think, let's say about the learning process, we see mistakes as something bad. And then by helping students in this process, like mistakes are part of the process. So I have
Who said that? Someone famous said that. Was it Harmer, Scrivener in one of the books? Oh, I don't even know anymore. It's terrible. But one of the initial teaching books, gosh, I'm so sorry. I don't remember. I'll try and look for it. But they said mistakes are evidence of learning, because someone is trying to use something that's different or new for them, and they're trying to figure it out. So if you make a mistake, it's actually a really great learning opportunity. So yes, changing that whole idea there.
Yeah. There's a grammaticist, Martin Parrott. He usually says that, I think
it's very common. I am
That's
probably misquoting whoever said it, but yeah. So go ahead.
Well, they all say this, you're just not reinventing the wheel. It's there, The wheel once was square. This is why it became a wheel.
Yeah, but although we know that, Adriano, it's something that we come from this structure of teaching and learning and pointing out with the red mark what was wrong, the grades and everything. So we come like this way. So it's really hard even for us changing this process for our students. And
well, we've also been conditioned, like from I don't know how you guys, but I used to just get red marks all over my papers because that's how it was when we were growing up. And good, bad, or indifferent, that was how it was. And so a lot of teachers are repeating the behavior that they've been exposed to, which was a different, it's from a different time. I mean, it's probably like 200 years old at this point, but it's fine. Education needs reform. But Adriana, you said something about that when we had our podcast, gosh, a while ago, when you do the writing, your feedback, right? You do a different way of giving feedback to try and focus on not only on improvements, but on positive.
Yes, that's right.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's to providing quality feedback. Yeah.
And there was like color coding. Can you describe it?
Yes, we would use the green color for the things which are going right. No need no need for changes. The blue is when I am conversing with the writer, so think about something different when I'm provoking the writer. The yellow is just like you're almost there to go, just pay attention. There are some things that needs improving. And the red one is just like, that should not be there anymore. So that will depend on the level. If it is an error, a mistake, or a slip, or an attempt, very interesting process. But in the end, the focus is on the quality feedback, reinforcing what is good rather than what is not good.
It's again what Francine was saying, like the mindset is really important there. There's I don't know if you guys have years ago, I mean this was like over a decade ago, I was watching this psychologist from Harvard. His name's Sean Acor. Do you know him? Positive, what was it? The Happiness Advantage. He studies positive psychology. He was working at Harvard. And I think the whole idea of it was really, really great because, and I brought it to class. So, bonus points for Kelly, brought it to class 10 years ago. But he talks about studying the outliers, the people who are performing at higher levels, not thinking of them as anomalies, but thinking of them as models instead of trying to get everybody to, perform on an average. How can we get everybody to perform better, like the people who tend to do that? And it kind of reminds me of this idea of mindset, because he does talk a lot about it, right? The journaling and some things.
He also mentions that in his study, he was accompanying the students from Harvard, and some of them, they were really proud of being there, really motivated. But there was a group of students who were like, oh, just struggling, complaining. And how come? You're in Harvard University. So
and it looks like Hogwarts. I remember he was saying that, like in the dining hall, like where you eat the food for lunch, and it looks like Hogwarts. It's like this magical place, and you go there. And I mean, I lived nearby there. It's beautiful campus. It's close to the city. It's
so
like,
how come like these two different outcomes,
Yeah.
and then it's all the mindset, and then the results are completely different. So it always starts by the way you think. We need to be careful, attentive, and we need to take care of our mindsets.
Yeah, our minds is our castle. We don't let any or anybody else rather than the ones we are inviting. So if you are inviting negative thoughts, the chances are that we're going to produce negative actions.
There's seeds.
Yep, absolutely. And
well, it's like a lens, right? Because and sometimes, like, again, technology is not bad. I love technology, but we see everything through the lens of what is being filtered for us. News, for example, it's murder, rape, violence, and mayhem everywhere. I mean, it's always negative because that's what's salacious and that's what sells. And everybody wants to see, tragedy for whatever reason. And then you go onto Instagram and it's the complete opposite, where it's like, life is amazing and perfect, but we all know that that's not true. Mm-hmm. And so we see these like two different perspectives. It's like, well, the world is awful, but people are having amazing lives. And how come my life is mundane and frustrating? It's like, no.
And that's so childish. Can you imagine that we are just believing what we're seeing? It's like a cut, and then we believe that. So that's the point of this this course I did, that shows that now as adults, we need to take care of our inner child, because nowadays, some people, let's say most of people, they just let the inner child control. Because when we talk about emotions, Kelly, we sometimes have some situations in life nowadays that we just go back to something that happened when we were children. And then now, having this consciousness as adults, we have the control. So if I see life, this happy life on Instagram, as an adult, I need to be aware that this is not true. It's not just a part of it. As in my life, I have lots of pictures, lots of moments, and that's not all. So now this is a message that I have been applying in my life, that when you start to taking control of this inner child that exists inside of all of us, we need to take care of this child. And of course, we have lots of things to heal as we go through life. Now we have this chance. I can choose to heal, to make things different, and see the reality as it is. That's what I believe.
That was philosophical, wasn't it?
Wow,
it was
deep.
Yeah.
It went super deep. I feel like, no, but I 100% identify with that. It's kind of like because we had started this conversation with taking responsibility, and I am a big proponent of that. That is, for me, you need to take responsibility of your life, take responsibility of your words, your actions, how you treat people, everything else, and then it'll flow from there. But you need to take account of what's going on, strengths and weaknesses, and all that stuff. But be accountable for what you're doing. And, you exercise some control over yourself. So you typically just feel better, hopefully.
The universe is in constant movement. In everything you do, you will involve other people. If I do something here in my house, in my home, there is my wife involved, there are my 2 kids involved, there are my brothers and sisters, my siblings. So if you get stuck, in the worst case scenario, you're walking backwards. So it's constant movement. And, as Francine said, this search for better knowing ourselves is what's going to bring us to that mathematical formula. That's the...
Are you going to share the magic formula?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, please.
Then you have your body plus your mind plus your soul that equals spiritual evolution, that's when you become a better person, not only, you know, a better professional, because then you start looking at things in a different way, you know.
Can I
So
associate this with something that I love your formula, but can I associate with something else?
please do so.
Another acronym, CASA.
Which stands for?
Oh, you don't know CASA? Well, someone's not following. He's following Francine on Instagram, but he's not following me apparently, because I posted something about that and you didn't. Hang on, I'll pull it up for you, sir. No,
We got the message.
I'm joking. No, I posted about it recently because I was talking about CPD with a couple other people, and I was talking to Bruno Albuquerque, who's fantastic too, and he was really he likes this idea and he's doing something very cool with it. And I think he's going to do some sort of workshop, so I'm excited about it. It's from Donald Freeman, and it stands for Knowledge, Attitude, Skills, and Awareness. And it's a way of structuring your CPD, your continuing professional development. And so knowledge being about subject matter, attitude, your attitude that you bring to the classroom, your attitude about different topics and kind of assessing that, your skills, literally what you're applying in your life, and awareness of those three and kind of everything else that's going on. So I think it's actually quite connected.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. I definitely recommend it. And he wrote this. I pulled it up because I wasn't sure when it was from. It's from 1989. So it was in the TESOL Quarterly. I mean, it's been in ELT. This idea of CASA has been in our industry for a while.
1989. That's when I started teaching.
I was 4.
I was 9.
You see how my emotional intelligence is well developed, you know. If
you did not react to that.
No.
But look at you're sandwiched between two lovely ladies, younger ladies too. So there you go.
You're very true.
Life's not bad.
No, not at all.
No, but I joke. But yeah, I mean, it's been around for so long, and still, you know, people struggle with it. So it's, you know, there definitely has been a lack of awareness or a lack of emphasis put on this, because it's a way of developing yourself. I mean, professionally, personally, mentally, of just kind of structuring what you can do with your life, taking ownership.
I might have a theory because of why this, you know, might have been forgotten. Because, you know, through this teaching learning process, we've gone through different, you know, teaching methodologies and approaches. And I think it was later on in the 90s or something that this is started to come back, you know, like a fad. Everything was too mechanical. It was PPP, and, you know, not much caring and sharing was involved in the teaching process, in the learning process. So then came the late 90s, in which, you know, this survival of the humanistic approach took form. And now that you mentioned, I might have read something about this, you know, long time ago.
I mean, it has been floating around. It's not something that I think this was the original. I have to say, I'm not quite sure. I'm probably misquoting it, but it was in the TESOL Quarterly, 1989, and it was under the title Teacher Training, Development, and Decision Making. And so it was related to, I mean, decision making too. Is you have to have you can't just willy-nilly decide, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I think that's why a lot of people feel like they're floating in the wind sometimes, is that they don't have a really structured approach to how am I going to solve these issues? Like, first of all, what are the issues? And then how am I going to solve them? How can I go after it?
Yep.
Can we jump back into social media just for a second? Because as we were talking about it, first of all, Adriano, you need to follow my post a little bit better.
Like me, follow me, share me.
Will you please just justify my existence?
What? I didn't hear what you said.
I'm glad we can all laugh about this. But how do you guys think that this idea, that everything that we've been talking about actually is affecting people with all of the competition that we're seeing on social media amongst professionals? Like, people are competing with each other. Does that make sense? Everybody wants to be a teacherpreneur nowadays. Everybody wants to go out privately and do this stuff. How do you see this affecting people's mental health and kind of well-being? And do you think people are going, because I have some feelings on this, but I want to know your reaction first.
Well, what about your telling us your reactions first?
Well, no, okay, I will. That's fine.
I was just provoking you. You see,
he loves doing it.
Okay, you can. I will. I love to talk. I have a podcast. Go ahead. Do you want me to go?
No, Francine can go.
Okay, go ahead, Francine. Let's hear from you.
Oh, come on. This is a game?
Yeah. Just throw the ball. We're just good. Hot potato.
I am a small number here, so you girls need to go.
You are the minority, sir.
Yeah, you see.
No, really. What do you guys feel about? What do you see? Do you see working with other professionals? Do you see it affecting them? Because I see that the competition online is quite fierce. I'll put it that way.
And I would say cynical sometimes. You know, but that's from my perspective. We see too much of the same thing, but apparently everybody is doing the same. But we can do it differently, you know. The moment that we are, let's say, better prepared, not only in terms of teaching skills, but what is inside us in terms of a professional, what we bring into the game as different professionals in terms of a person who is teaching is one thing. A person who is sharing knowledge is a different thing, you know. Some people are in the game just for the money, and the money is important, yep. But, you know, we should be in the game not only for the money, but from the perspective of helping other people. And that's what justifies the role of an educator, is to make a difference, is to be, as I said before, a soul behind a face. So, you know, we need to celebrate students' successes, our successes, you know. I believe every single day, you know, if there is a student who is succeeding in getting a certificate or having a good interview for a capacity in a company, so that is the difference we make. You know, we are not only teaching the language, we are sharing knowledge, culture, responsibilities, as you mentioned, Kelly. We are sharing different mindsets, as Francine, you know, always mentions to me. So it's a kind of package that everybody can look outside and see this is beautiful, but what is inside, what real professionals and real people do with the educational process, you know, is different. I believe this is different, you know. And social media is there to prove us right and sometimes wrong, you know, because when you see some people posting things, then you go like, yeah, this means a lot, doesn't it? So, and in a way, it's nice because you think I think to myself, this is one road I don't want to walk in. This is road not paved for me. I'll pave a different road so that I can achieve not only my objectives but other people's objectives. You know, that's what I think.
And that's why I think we need to have time for ourselves, know ourselves a lot as professionals, what are our values, and also focus once we decide who we want to help, because we cannot help everyone.
No.
So once we decide who are the students we're going to help, then I think it's we need to have it clear to just do our job. We can learn a lot from the internet, social media. We have amazing professionals. Here you were bringing like the best professionals in our area, and we learn a lot. And having this facility of getting together in an international conference or listening to a podcast, we have so many facilities nowadays, but we need to be careful not to get lost. And this, I think it's something that's happening. People are getting lost, and then we just lose the main focus, that is the student. So being careful, being attentive to the person I want to help, and constantly checking if we are on our way. Yeah, so silence again, checking, and getting feedback. I also think it's important.
Yeah, I have a very kind of a blend of both of yours. It seems to me, one, I think that there's a lot of people trying to compete, teachers competing with teachers, which is a little confusing to me because, like you said, Adriano, we're all really individual and we all offer very specific things. And I know that the three of us, for example, great professionals. I'm just going to say it. We're great professionals. Yeah. Good job, everyone. But we offer different things. And so we have a different public. And, you know, for example, I have no problem sharing students with other people. If somebody asks me, oh, can you help me with this? I'm like, that's not real. I'm not really, I can, but I know somebody better. Because I know somebody who works with that and is actually just going to be able to help you much more than I can. So I'm not really afraid of doing that. I send students to people all the time. I'm like, oh yeah, you should talk to this person, talk to that person. Because I'm not worried about it. Because I'm not in competition with anybody. Because I know that while you two are great, I also have my differential, you can say, that I can offer people that maybe is right for some clients and not right for others. And that's okay.
Yeah.
But again, that's being very centered in knowing who I am and what I'm doing. Like what's my purpose here? So
that's the point.
Yeah. The competition, it seems that loses people because what people see is, oh my God, so-and-so is putting out a lot of content and they have these courses and they're doing this and they're doing that and I'm behind. No, you're not necessarily. What do you need to do? And it's, again, that silent time, that reflection time. Well, what am I actually going to do with myself? So yeah, social media can be a killer for people.
Yes.
Just get lost.
Yeah. Well, I read something about this some time ago, is that we are now presented with too many choices, and too many choices.
I think I read this too about like okay, go ahead. I get so excited. I think I read the same thing as you. Go ahead.
Too many choices, are presented, and some people or most people will get frustrated. And I was just relating to myself, because I quit drinking about 10 years ago, and there were usually 2 or 3 sorts of beers that I would drink, would be either Skol or Brahma or Antarctica. And nowadays, when I go in supermarkets and I think to myself, man, I would get so frustrated. There are so many beers to choose from.
No, but it's actually a psychological thing now that people have. We have more, how do I say this? We have more variety and more options for things, and people have a harder time making decisions.
Yes.
And that's why when you see somebody back in the day, when you used to go to the store, like, for example, I played basketball. So there was like 5 types of basketball shoes. For women, there was like 2 types of basketball shoes. Do you want pink or white? And it was I used to always go to the men's section. I was like, I want black. I had a goth phase. It's fine. Anyways, but there was very few. It was like 1 Nike or 2 Nikes, 1 or 2 Adidas. You would have like, a couple brands like A&1 or something, but you would have a very limited selection. And it was quite easy to make the choice because it was like, well, I like this color and this brand is the most comfortable on my foot. Now, if you go onto the internet and go shopping, you have literally hundreds of pages of shoes that you can buy. And this is why people just spend so much time, because they can't make a decision, because they actually don't even know what they want.
Yeah.
And then, and that comes full circle back to, CPD, like if you're doing an assessing, well, one from a teacher perspective, doing your professional development, but also doing a personal development, you have to figure out what you want first, because you're going to be offered a million things. You're going to see so much choice.
And that's when the frustration hits on you. And some people will hit really hard, so we need to find dosage, because a medicine or poison will kill you in any ways. It depends on the dosage. If you use too much, if you overuse it, your medicine will become poison and everything.
Perfect.
That's what I think about, how social media in terms of, our professions, our careers, is impacting us, and mostly students, because they will think, oh, Kelly's offering this, Adriano is offering that, Francine is offering that, and you don't know what you want. And
well, first of all, if the three of us are offering something, you should take all three. But
thank you.
Check. Add to cart.
Or then you go like, oh, they should be working together,
Yes, good idea, Adriano.
No, but yes, I know what you mean. I'm joking. I like to joke a lot, but I know what you mean. It's like, oh, everybody's doing. I actually had a mentee come to me recently, and she said, a lot of them actually come to me with these types of issues, and it's kind of like I'm just kind of their grounding rod. I feel like it's like, okay, what do you want to do? Okay, but tell me what you want to do. And she was, so she's developing a series of workshops and webinars. And I'm like, great. Okay, so let's do this. And she had so many ideas, and it was just so diverse. I was like, okay, so who's your target audience? And she said, everybody. I was like, nope. Because even for general English courses, your audience is still not everybody. What type of person are you? I'll give a great example of this. I have a friend. I have lots of friends, but I have a friend, and he has a school, and he offers kind of premium courses. They're very like tailored, and it's very individual, and a lot of, super qualified person. And he puts a lot of effort into it. And the price of the course reflects that. It's not absurd. It's just a little bit more expensive than the average English school, because there's more work and more. So he offers, it's an English course. It's a proficiency course. It is a general course. It is not, it's literally for everyone, but it's not, because it's for that very specific student that wants to invest a little bit more money for really top quality and personalized experience. So even though it seems as if his English school and his courses are for everyone, they really aren't. And so, I think teachers have an issue with that. It's not that you have to be like so niche, like I only give classes to business people that work in the IT department. You don't have to do that. You can, but you don't have to. But you do have to have a profile of a person, right?
Sure. Yes. You need to have some options. You establish your core teaching area, but there are open windows for that, and that's what I was discussing with Francine. My experience of teaching online is very recent, because I was much into the physical thing of going to school and face-to-face and everything. For me, I'm just crawling in this online teaching, so I make lots of mistakes. I know that. But for me, I am following Francine's idea. So you establish 1, 2, or 3 groups of potential, students, and that's what I've done. So thank you, Francine.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I want coaching from Francine now too. Okay, so
what kind of team? We can get together. See, I'm getting lots of insights from this podcast, guys.
Do you see living in
once a
learn.
week at least.
Well, I know, in all fairness, I've used ideas that we have discussed together as well, Kelly.
What have tell me, do tell. No, but okay, so here's another thing. We'll try and stay focused on mental health and well-being. Yes. It's a disaster. Okay.
But
how
sorry to put
go
in,
ahead.
but this is good because we are now cleaning our hard disk in terms of mental health. We are clarifying ideas. Yeah.
Yeah. So how important is it to have a social network in terms of peers that you trust? Like, obviously the three of us are friendly, and we've, well, Francine, not as much. I'm feeling like we're going to have to chat more. I'm going to have to get some style tips as well. But but like bouncing ideas off each other and just kind of discussing general topic. How important is that? Because I find it to be so helpful for me. Is it, I mean, for everybody, or no? I don't know.
No. Francine, do you want to go first now?
I think it's related to what you asked before about feeling about this. When you have somebody to give you tips, you see, after Adriano came and started, because Adriano, I see him as a very experienced professional. So, wow.
He's like the wise sage. Like, we can, like,
so
we give offerings of textbooks at the
and I always say, Adriano, thank you for this and that. No, you never have to thank me for this. Of course I need, because just having him, I can also see what I do as something important, because he shows me what I cannot see from myself. So it's amazing, Kelly, when we have somebody else to show you the good things you're doing. When I see that I can help him, I also feel very glad. And this sharing just motivates us as professionals. So I think this is really for our mental health, having a peer that you can share ideas. This is something that it's like priceless. Yeah. So where can I get? It's like a kind of mentorship I have with Adriano. We share a lot, right?
Yes.
And we motivate each other. This is really good.
Yeah, that is a two-way road. It's just not like one-way road. It's giving and taking, and the more that you give, that's the more you take. That's what I have in mind. One very good example, Kelly, is this is again from my background, is when the three of us are here sharing ideas together, it means that somehow we trust each other. We're not here to compete with one another, and I feel it. Maybe it's an instinct that I have, but I have been in contact with other professionals. And when you start talking to them, or when you start feeling the real thing, so this person is very competitive. They're not going to help me. They will take a lot from me and not, collaborate anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, this person, zoom, disappears. Mm-hmm. But now, the three of us, for example, we're very good examples of how we can use the social media to exchange ideas and knowledge and everything.
I mean, if we follow each other, right? You're never going to live it down. No, I joke. No, but it's true. It's true. You do it because every relationship, whether we want to accept it or not, is reciprocal.
Yeah.
You need to get something and the other person needs to get something. And that's just a fact. That's a law of nature. So it's a reciprocal relationship.
Yes.
And it can't be too unbalanced because then also, then that's problematic. But there also is some, I'm going to get canceled. You guys might just want to leave the podcast right now. There is this strange thing that happens too, where people start idolizing other people in the area. And it's this weird thing that happens where it's like, oh my God, this person, it's like the untouchables. It's very strange to me, to be honest. And so that also is a very unhealthy relationship, because honestly, the people that I've met, and I've met some of these, we'll put quote unquote famous people, some of them have been the most kind, generous, wonderful people I've ever met. And they will sit there and talk to you and give you, and you're just like, oh, this is why you're awesome. Yeah. Okay. This is why everybody loves you. I get it now, because you really just want to help, and it's not for any other reason but repassing knowledge. And some other ones, I don't know if this is the right way to phrase it. They get off on the attention. You know what I mean? And that type of relationship is not what I'm interested in, because really you're going to be giving so much energy to feed the ego, and they're just going to be giving you like little morsels here and there, so you buy their courses or do something with them or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, our world is full of inflated egos.
We're gonna get canceled. I'm not even gonna have social media. You don't even have to follow me anymore, Adriano. People are just gonna cancel me. And I feel like it's true. I mean, every industry has it.
I forgot we were live, you know. So please.
No, but it's not only our industry. I mean, this happens everywhere.
Yes.
But relationships should be reciprocal.
Yeah. Well, I read a very interesting quote by Ricky Gervais. He goes like, you know, facts have become very offensive nowadays. You cannot say facts or tell facts because people will get offended. So,
I mean, he's controversial too. You had to pick the one guy who gets up and like the Golden Globes and makes fun of it, destroys everyone, of course. But it's true. I mean, we do have a lot of inflated egos. So I would say one thing that for my mental health, once I kind of realized that the relationship with someone is, you know, it's again, professional relationships should be reciprocal, and you help each other and say, oh, this person, you know, in recommendations here and there. But if it's not, then I would say it's probably not worth your time.
Yeah, we can choose it. Yeah,
right.
That's the good part. We can choose.
Yeah, that's the part of choices are nice, you know, because you can get away from this toxic environment, which is healthy, you know, to be away from this toxic environment, you know.
Unfollow is a good button.
Not for me, it isn't, Adriano.
No.
I knew you would say something about that.
It's gonna be a thing now. I mean, I'm gonna tag you in all my posts. I'm gonna be like the annoying little sister, like, why aren't you paying attention to me?
I'm here.
Please.
I'm going to get some eye drops to pretend that I'm crying, you know.
Pretend, Kelly, you see?
Pretend, yeah, it's not even real cry. It is not even real tears.
Social emotional intelligence, you know.
Oh, okay. Anything else that you would recommend? So Francine, you had that book. We'll definitely put it in the show notes. Is there something somewhere besides joining the Breast Teasel Wellbeing SIG and working with you and getting, is there anything else that you would want to recommend for teachers that might be having a hard time or just really want to help themselves out and build their emotional stability and grow in their careers? Recommendations?
Can I go first?
Yeah, of course.
Well, talking about it is a small step for some, a huge leap for other people. But better than talking about it is doing something about it. You know, that's the important thing. There's a moment, the instant you are aware of what, you know, you're going through, that you accept that thing and you do something about it, you know, that's the moment you are growing. So know yourself, be yourself, and act upon yourself. And then, as I said, the universe is, in constant movement. Whatever you do in terms of movement will reach, other people. If you stop, you're walking backwards.
And I would just add that recognizing what you are able to do now at this moment. We can always get better, but maybe now at this moment, try to celebrate your journey. And as Adriano says, right? So recognize who you are now with the tools you have at the moment. And this is, I think, really important.
It doesn't have to be big leaps. It can be little things and just say, okay, I'm here. I would like to be there, but what are some small action steps that I can take?
That's a good question. What's the first small step that I can give in the way that I want to get?
Yeah.
Even if it's just sending a message. Actually, speaking of that, one teacher reached out to me and she said, I don't normally do this. I'm sorry if I'm bothering you. Because she had seen some post or something like that. And she was wondering about, I don't know, some recommendation. I was like, you're never bothering me. It's fine. Do you hear the Pamoyas going by my house? Guys, I live in the country. This is so annoying. Like, I tried to podcast. There's roosters, Pamoyas, and dogs barking all the time. It's insanity. Anyways, so this lovely teacher, she sends me a message. I'm so sorry to bother you. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, you're never bothering me. Are you kidding me? It might take me a little bit because sometimes I'm busy or working or whatever, but of course I'm going to answer you. What do you need? And she said, I don't normally do this. I don't normally talk to teachers that I don't know. And I was like, I put my life on social media. Like, you can talk to me whenever. I don't mind. So even if it's just sending a message, I think sometimes that really just helps. Like, yeah, I'm here. So can they send messages to you too?
Sure.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Of course.
We're going to link because, obviously the dynamic trio that we have here. So we'll put Adriano's and Francine's Instagram or LinkedIn. Which do you prefer?
Instagram, I think it's fine.
Instagram, okay. Be careful, guys. Adriano doesn't necessarily follow you back, but you can follow him. You can follow him and feel free to message. Drops. Go ahead, drops.
Yeah.
Crying. No, I'm joking. He's fantastic. He always messages me. So yeah, feel free to reach out and really consider joining the Wellness SIG or Wellbeing SIG because it's a good group. And you guys do you have any upcoming events? Well, we have something in October, don't we, for Teachers Day?
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? Who are you working with? What chapter? A chapter, right? Are you working with a chapter?
Yes, Rio and Elisa, who has just joined us in our Wellbeing SIG, is doing her presentation.
Wonderful. What's the presentation on? So we can...
It's going to be, I don't remember the title of that.
Do you follow her on Instagram?
Teachers? It's on Teachers Wellbeing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's on Teachers Wellbeing.
Wonderful.
You see, I've been bullied and I'm not doing anything about this. My social emotional intelligence is working fine.
It's a way.
It's
It's
fantastic.
a loving way that she has to show that she cares about
It
you.
is.
Yeah.
It's like you're my big brother. I have to pick on you. That's the way that I show that I love you.
All right.
Well, thank you guys again for coming on. You're more than welcome to come back anytime, especially if you have some events with the Wellbeing SIG. More teachers should participate and interact with those because it's just good to have a nice community and people that you can count on, right?
Yeah. And the good thing about this, Kelly, is that we are not competing with each other. Actually, it's just the opposite. We are helping each other. And that's what we aim at, helping each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the first thing to do is to stop following each other, I'll do that.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I post things. I put so much time and effort into my social media nowadays.
Yeah. But the good thing that my twin brother always likes your posts,
No, I do have to say that though you probably don't read my posts, you do reply to the stories. I feel like you're more of a stories person. So you always reply to my stories. Francine and I, we have to get together. Actually, I'm just gonna Just gonna set up some sessions and we'll chat. Anyway,
Great.
And at least get some, hairstyle tips and
I remember like the last thing that I remember, Francine, is like, oh, you were taking pictures. Remember, it was like one of the last days of the breast teasel, and you guys, I took a picture of both of you actually, and somehow Francine, first of all, she had on this outfit. It was fabulous. It was yellow, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's always the bright colors. You're like the queen of Brazil. Like just like the royal family always wears bright colors.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was like this yellow mustardy, this whole ensemble. The hair was done. Well, you were presenting, so I think you had So of course, people are taking pictures of you. I strolled in with like wet hair, like, oh, I showered today, guys. Welcome. And then there's Francine. And somehow you were able to color coordinate your outfit to the backdrop. Do you remember? It was like, because we were at Mackenzie and it was the yellow with the red and the wood tones. I was like, what?
How could you do that?
Yeah. Was this planned?
But let me tell you, I'm also
was she here in the middle of the night looking at
Adriano, have you seen a picture that Kelly posted some days ago?
Oh.
She even received an email. She got famous with that picture.
What picture?
Yeah, that were like with your hair all.
The one time Kelly puts makeup on, people are like, "Holy cow, who is this woman?" It's like, yeah, surprisingly.
You also had your moment.
I had a moment.
Your queen moment.
But I got the offer from a random William who, like, I don't think William was his real name, in the UK, and I was really hoping it was going to be the royal family status, but.
The famous moment.
Yeah.
Well,
the internet is a weird place, though. I mean,
you'd have to have royal blood to be a royal one. You are a royal one.
I actually do have royal blood from Ireland. My great grandfather was the Duke of Ireland.
So that's the difference between you and Francine and I, because we make up, mafia.
Be careful, Kelly.
You forget that I am Irish and I'm from the Boston region.
Well, but
which
nothing
had the Irish mob.
Exactly, but nothing compared to Cosa Nostra, right?
Oh my God. This is just taking a really weird turn. Yeah. We should just cut it off. This is it. We're done. We're done, people. Thank you so much. Yeah. And the end of the podcast.
And the end of the podcast. What happened? They died.
Oh my God, we can't do mafia stuff on here. I mean, we can. It would be fun. Anyways, thank you both for coming.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you for your time.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's it.
Ready to join the conversation? Head on over to Instagram at Kelly Pennington ELT and send me a message. That's it for now. Take care of yourself, your health, your vibe, and your tribe. Until next time.